We are not what has happened to us. We are what we have chosen to become. Carl Jung. Let's start with a question. How often have you felt stuck in a pattern of thinking that seems to limit your possibilities? This pattern may be associated with beliefs that we carry, often without realizing it, throughout our lives. These limiting beliefs, as Jung suggests, are often the result of past experiences and influences that shape us, but they don't have to determine who we are or who we can be. Jung believed that the human psyche is made up of several layers of consciousness and unconscious, and that limiting beliefs are often manifestations of the repressed or unintegrated content within us. They emerge from the shadow, that part of our psyche that contains all the aspects we reject or deny in ourselves. These beliefs can be so subtle that they act like invisible forces, shaping our behaviors, attitudes, and decisions without us even questioning their validity. However, Jung also pointed out that true freedom lies in the process of individuation, the path of becoming complete, authentic, and truly ourselves. Breaking free from limiting beliefs is part of this process. It involves bringing to light what is hidden in the unconscious, confronting the shadow parts, and deeply questioning what we believe to be true about ourselves and the world. The theme we will explore today, in the light of analytical psychology, revolves around how we can identify, confront, and ultimately free ourselves from those limiting beliefs that prevent us from reaching our fullest potential. We will investigate the origins of these beliefs, their role in our psyche, and how the process of individuation can lead us to psychological freedom. As Jung said, those who look outward dream, those who look inward awaken. Freeing ourselves from limiting beliefs is an invitation to this awakening, a call to look inwards and discover what prevents us from walking freely towards our personal fulfillment. So how can we actually begin this journey of self-liberation? How do we confront the invisible barriers we have created or absorbed throughout our lives? Next, let's go deeper into the roots of these beliefs, exploring what Jung has to teach us about their origin and their influence on our individuation process. Limiting beliefs can be understood as psychological constructs that prevent individuals from accessing their true potential. For Jung, they have deep roots in the unconscious and are often fed by the shadow. The shadow, according to him, is the hidden side of our psyche, which contains all the repressed or denied aspects of our personality, characteristics, traumas, and desires that we prefer not to confront. These aspects are pushed into the unconscious, but they don't disappear. They manifest themselves in indirect ways, often in the form of limiting beliefs. These beliefs can form from traumatic experiences, rigid upbringing, or even cultural influences. Jung emphasizes that the human psyche is strongly influenced by the collective unconscious, a reservoir of memories and archetypes shared by all of humanity. This means that, in addition to our personal experiences, we also carry inherited thought patterns, which can reinforce limiting beliefs over generations. For example, the belief that I'm not good enough may be a reflection of an archetype such as the outcast or the orphan, figures that symbolize exclusion and inadequacy present in the collective unconscious. The process of individuation, which Jung describes as the ultimate goal of psychological development, is essential for freeing ourselves from these beliefs. Individuation is the way to integrate the conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche, resulting in a sense of wholeness and authenticity. This requires confronting and integrating the shadow, i.e., looking head-on at the aspects of ourselves that we avoid and accepting that these parts are also part of our being. Don't miss the video, Awaken to Your True Self, here on the channel. In it, we go even deeper into the path of individuation and how you can connect with your most authentic essence. For Jung, then, a limiting belief can be seen as an obstacle on the journey of individuation. Until we confront these beliefs, we continue to live in a fragmented way without access to our true self. For example, a person who believes that they don't deserve success may avoid opportunities or sabotage their own efforts. Jung would see this belief as a manifestation of the unconscious, which needs to be brought to light and examined in order to be transformed. By identifying these beliefs and questioning their origin, we pave the way for transformation. Jung said that suffering does not simply disappear, but can be transformed into awareness. In this case, the limiting belief, once brought to the surface, can be re-evaluated and reframed, allowing us to move forward on the journey of individuation. To illustrate how limiting beliefs influence our lives, let's look at two practical examples that connect these thought patterns to Jung's theory. Imagine a woman called Sophia, who has always avoided leadership positions at work, despite being extremely competent. Sophia has the belief that women are not good leaders. This idea didn't come out of nowhere. It was built up over time through personal and cultural experiences, such as growing up in a traditional family where leadership was seen as a male role. Without realizing it, this limiting belief is ingrained in her psyche and operates as an invisible force, affecting her choices. Although she has all the qualities needed to be a leader, the subconscious belief prevents her from applying for promotions, even when these opportunities arise. Sophia's situation can be understood in the light of the Jungian shadow. Her belief has been introjected, that is, unconsciously absorbed from her surroundings, and projected onto her behavior. The shadow in this case involves a repressed aspect of her personality, her natural capacity for leadership. Instead of integrating this quality and recognizing her own value, Sophia denies this part of herself, allowing the limiting belief to govern her decisions. To free herself, Sophia would first need to become aware of this belief and then question its validity. This requires a process of confronting the shadow, recognizing that what she rejects, leadership, is actually an essential part of who she is. Another example is Pedro, a man who, despite having great artistic talent, believes that it's not possible to make a living from art. Like Sophia, this belief is not innate. It has been built up from experiences and cultural influences, such as growing up in a society that values more traditional careers. This limiting belief leads Pedro to keep his art as a hobby, without ever exploring its true potential. Even when opportunities arise, he sabotages them, believing that this is not for him. Pedro's case can also be explained through Jung's theory. His limiting belief can be seen as a reflection of an archetype such as the rejected artist, a figure who carries the fear of not being accepted by society. Pedro projects this archetype into his own life, becoming the agent of his own limitation. Like Sophia, Pedro needs to integrate what has been repressed, his desire to make a living from art, and confront his shadow in order to transcend this belief. These examples show how limiting beliefs, often hidden in the unconscious, can restrict our choices and take us away from our true self. Freeing ourselves from them requires a process of self-knowledge and of confronting the rejected parts of ourselves, something that Jung considered essential for individuation. Freeing oneself from limiting beliefs, as Jung teaches us, is an internal journey that involves not only identifying these beliefs, but also transforming them through the process of individuation. This process is fundamental to psychological growth, as it seeks to integrate the conscious and unconscious aspects of the psyche, allowing the individual to live more authentically and fully. At the heart of this transformation is the confrontation with the shadow. Jung suggested that the shadow is not something we should reject or fear, but rather integrate. It contains valuable parts of ourselves that have been repressed, whether by cultural or family influences or by painful personal experiences. These parts, when denied, take on distorted forms, such as limiting beliefs. However, by accepting and integrating the shadow, we can rescue these hidden potentialities and release the psychic energy that was blocked. For example, in Sophia's case, the belief that women are not good leaders is a projection of her shadow, which contains her repressed desire to lead. By confronting this belief, she begins the process of reintegrating her capacity for leadership. This is the path of individuation, a process of becoming whole by integrating unconscious aspects, letting go of what no longer serves us. A limiting belief, in this context, is a mask that hides a powerful part of who we are. This dynamic also connects to the Jungian concept of archetypes. Archetypes are patterns of behavior and primordial images present in the collective unconscious, and many of our limiting behaviors derive from unintegrated archetypes. Peter, for example, is stuck in the archetype of the rejected artist. By identifying this archetype, he can realize that his fear of not being accepted is not personal, but part of a larger archetypal pattern that affects many creative people. By distancing himself from this projection, Peter can begin to live more freely, without being controlled by this unconscious narrative. Jung also emphasized the importance of dreams as a gateway to the unconscious. Often, our dreams reveal repressed beliefs and contents of the shadow that can help us better understand the limiting beliefs that affect us. A dream in which Peter sees his art being criticized, for example, could symbolize the fear of failure, while a dream of Sophia leading a team could represent the integration of her leadership potential. Thus, freeing oneself from limiting beliefs is not a purely rational process. It requires a deep analysis of the unconscious, an openness to self-knowledge, and a willingness to face up to the aspects of ourselves that we avoid. It is through this confrontation that transformation can take place, allowing us to live more freely and in line with our essence. As Carl Jung teaches us, the process of freeing oneself from limiting beliefs is actually a journey of self-discovery and integration. These often unconscious beliefs are not just obstacles, but signs of unresolved aspects within our psyche, especially those that are part of our shadow. By confronting these beliefs, we are getting closer to a deeper truth about who we really are and freeing ourselves from the conditioning that distances us from our true self. On the path to individuation, each limiting belief that we identify and work on becomes an opportunity for transformation. By bringing to light what is hidden in the unconscious, we not only free ourselves from self-destructive patterns, but also access potential that was previously repressed. Sophia, by realizing that her belief about leadership was a projection of the shadow, can embrace her ability to lead with confidence. Pedro, by recognizing the archetype of the rejected artist, can challenge this internal narrative and make room for his true artistic talent. These are examples of how the individuation process leads us to a fuller life, where we are no longer prisoners of our limiting beliefs. Jung also reminds us that this is an ongoing process. Individuation is a lifelong journey. It's not about achieving a static perfection, but about becoming increasingly aware of ourselves and the unconscious forces that shape our lives. Each time we come across a limiting belief and question it, we are one step closer to inner freedom and authenticity. It's important to remember that limiting beliefs don't just arise from our personal experience. They are reinforced by culture, family, and the collective unconscious. Jung believed that by becoming aware of these larger influences, we can free ourselves not only from what imprisons us individually, but also from the patterns that limit society as a whole. When we begin to question deeply held beliefs such as, "I'm not good enough," or "I'm not worthy of love," we are, in a way, also challenging the belief systems that perpetuate these ideas in the collective. The freedom we seek, therefore, is both internal and external. By freeing yourself from your limiting beliefs, you not only transform your life, but also contribute to a more conscious world, where fewer people are controlled by limiting narratives. That's the power of inner transformation. To conclude, let's remember Jung's words. What you resist persists. What you accept, you transform. Accepting our limiting beliefs does not mean resignation, but rather a deep recognition that by bringing them to light and working on them, we can transform ourselves. True freedom comes from within, and the key to that freedom is the courageous act of looking inwards, integrating our shadow, and moving towards wholeness. The path of individuation is a path of self-discovery and transformation. Every limiting belief is a gateway to unrealized potential waiting to be explored. May we follow this path with courage and openness, knowing that in doing so, we are becoming who we truly are. To end this moment of reflection, we want to hear from you. What limiting beliefs have you identified in your life, and how have you worked to overcome them? Do you think confronting your shadow can help you unlock your potential? Leave your opinion in the comments and share your experiences.